Looking at the GMAT score trends over the last 5 years, we can see that the average GMAT score for top P schools is on the rise. A good GMAT score not only improves your chances of getting an admit, but also increases your chances of getting a scholarship. Based on our experience of coaching for more than 10,000 students, we know the strategies that worked well for our GMAT high scorers. Hi, I'm Manisha, and in this video, we will be revealing 13 actionable strategies and tips that will drastically increase your chances of getting a 700 on the GMAT. So first, let's begin by understanding the GMAT exam format and pattern. Now, it's important to look at the GMAT as a test of logic and not as a test of English and math. GMAT tests specific skills in specific ways and in a specific time frame. So understanding the GMAT is more like understanding your enemy. You need to understand what's being tested on the GMAT to do well on the GMAT. Next up is getting your fundamentals in place. Now, sometimes you may decide to skip brushing up on your basics because there's so much advanced stuff to learn, right? Now, the thing is, the basics are so much more important than you may think. Now, let me illustrate this point using an example. Now, suppose you're weak in inequalities, which is within the GMAT arithmetic, but you choose to ignore it and decide to focus on your strengths instead. Now, on the GMAT, you get a minimum of 2 questions based on inequalities. Now, these could be a 700 level questions or 500 level ones, depending on your luck. Now, I say luck because in any case, even if one of these questions based on your weak topic is a 500 level question and you get it wrong, the next few questions will all be 500 level questions. So your expertise in other GMAT topics will make no difference. The advanced GMAT hacks are effective when you're already at a 700 level on the GMAT and want to score higher. So make sure you have your basics in place. You can go through our free GMAT Quant Basic course, which has been designed for those who are either starting off their GMAT preparation or are struggling with the fundamental GMAT Quant concepts. The link has been provided in the description below. Moving on to the third and the most important tip of all, use the official material. Now, GMAT is a standardized test and you need to learn what the GMAT is testing you on and the various traps that the GMAT has set. Now, we recommend sticking to the GMAT official material, that is the GMAT official guide, for 3 main reasons. First, the practice material is of the highest possible quality as the official guide practice questions are created by the same folks who made the actual GMAT exam. Second, the questions are taken from the previous GMAT tests, so it will make you aware of the kind of traps that the GMAT is testing you on. And the third is referring too many study materials might seem like a good option, but it can actually quite be overwhelming and lead to more confusion. So make sure you keep these 3 things in mind during your prep. Now, moving on to the 4th tip, be consistent. Now, a lot of learning on the GMAT is going to be consistent and incremental learning. Now, during your college days, you might have crammed all the topics a night before the exam and still managed to do well. But this will not work on the GMAT. Remember, the GMAT is not a test of knowledge, but rather a test of the application of the concepts that you have learned. So being consistent and investing a solid 2 to 3 months in your GMAT preparation is crucial for your success on the GMAT. The next tip is analyzing mistakes to improve the accuracy. It's okay to make mistakes. In fact, treat the wrong answers as your best friend. There might be many common mistakes that you might be making, but you won't understand why you're getting the answers wrong until you analyze your wrong answers. So take some time to understand why you made that mistake and how can you make sure that you don't make the same mistake again in the real GMAT test. We would recommend you to keep an error log to track and analyze your mistakes. The error log will provide insights about the concepts you are struggling with by keeping track of your accuracy, speed, and comfort level with each question type. So even if you practice a finite number of questions, make sure to analyze each and every single question. Now, what's coming next is critical. Time yourself. So on the GMAT, you have 120 seconds to solve a quant question and 108 seconds to answer the verbal question. Now, the GMAT test is designed in such a way that if you give infinite time to someone, they will most probably be able to get the correct answer. Now, the challenge is not to solve the GMAT questions correctly, but the challenge is to get the right answer with the given time. That's where timing becomes an important factor on the GMAT. Learn to guess intelligently. Now, you need to remember that the GMAT is a test of elimination and not a test of selection. You don't need to know what the right answer looks like. You just need to eliminate the wrong answers and guess the right answer intelligently. If you fail to solve a question on the GMAT, it's okay to make a smart guess and move on rather than spending more time trying to solve a question. Be sure of this next step. Get your doubts clarified from experts. Now, today, a lot of advice is available online, especially on forums like GMAT Club and Beat the GMAT. In fact, Crack Verbal also has a sub-forum on GMAT Club where you can post your questions and our experts will answer them for free. We would encourage you to use these forums and free resources to get your doubts clarified, as it will not only save your time but also teach you the right strategies to approach the questions you are unfamiliar with. Next up, don't rely too much on the internet. Now, this is a kind of corollary to the previous point. But there's a difference between reading up and downloading the free resources out there versus getting advice from real GMAT experts. As I mentioned earlier, too many resources for the same topic can actually end up causing more confusion than providing clarity. The 10th tip is enjoy the process of GMAT preparation. People who generally prepare for the GMAT often have a full-time job, so it can get a little stressful juggling with your GMAT preparation along with a full-time job. And that's why it's important for you to rest and not be stressed, but instead enjoy preparing for the GMAT. Now, we can be harsh on ourselves and try to create an ideal schedule to study for about 2 to 3 hours every day. But GMAT has to be approached in a different way. All the students we know who have scored well on the GMAT have always enjoyed preparing for the GMAT test. Consider the next step, taking and analyzing your practice tests. Practice tests are the best way to test your skill, timing, and mental stamina for the actual GMAT test. Do plenty of practice tests. The mistakes you make and the stamina you build is invaluable for the actual GMAT test. Think of the GMAT test as if you're preparing for a cricket match. You need as much as net practice as possible to score well on the actual tests. MBA.com provides you with a total of 6 tests, 2 of which are free and 4 of them are paid tests. You can also get additional tests from GMAT Club if you sign up for the Crack Verbal GMAT online course. Next up is to set realistic GMAT expectations. Don't try to gun for an 800 on the GMAT and apply to Harvard. Honestly, don't do that. Have a realistic expectations. There are a lot of good MBA colleges out there you will be able to apply with a GMAT score of 700 to 720. A lot of times having a realistic expectations about your GMAT test score can take a lot of pressure off you while answering the GMAT exam. And the last one tip we have for you is focus on your performance on the day of the test. There is a published standard deviation of around 30 points on the GMAT test. This means if you have been getting a score of 680 on your mock test, then you will most probably end up getting a score between 650 to 710 on the actual GMAT test. So a lot depends on how you perform on the actual test day. So make sure you eat right, sleep properly, and wake up at the right time. The day of the test is also going to be a huge variable, so try to control that variable as much as possible. Well, there you go, that's it. Those are our top 13 tips on cracking a 700 on the GMAT. In case you're just starting your preparation, then do sign up for our free GMAT Kickstarter course. You will find the links to all the important points discussed in the video in the description below. And if you have any questions, then feel free to leave a comment. And if you found this video useful, then don't forget to share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you again.